Good morning. Had to make an adjustment on the camera there. Welcome in to Morning Coffee with Pastor Brian. Thank you for joining us today on Thursday, May 28th, 2020. Appreciate you coming in today to be a part of our broadcast. And this is Heroes Week. We're talking about heroes of the Bible. And the heroes are also underdogs. And certainly the Bible is full of heroes and the role of an underdog as well. And we've been talking about coming off Memorial Day, coming off our Memorial Day holiday, and just felt led to speak about heroes, both in the Bible sense and then in the real world. So again, if you know of a hero, maybe it's a Bible character that you want to recognize as a hero, or a someone in real life that you read about or heard about, put it in the comment section and make comments about that. Also, share this information, start a watch party, invite friends to like our page at the Pentecostals of Troy. So we're talking about heroes. I want to lead off with talking about a book that my wife and I read. It's called We Band of Angels by Elizabeth Norman. We Band of Angels. We were talking about this on Memorial Day with our family members about different books and historical figures. And We Band of Angels, settings World War II. It's about nurses in the Philippines, 1941, and how that they were taken as prisoners of war and was in POW camp for the duration of the war. So yesterday we talked about the bomber pilot in World War II. Today we're talking about these nurses that unfortunately, became prisoners of war and spent time in POW camps. So again, we encourage you to get the book, We Band of Angels. If you're into reading, I'm sure you could get it in an electronic book, an audio book, whatever, by Elizabeth Norman, We Band of Angels. It's about the American nurses, prisoners of war, coming out of the Philippines and things like that. And very good story. Real life heroes. Again, I think that the term hero is misappropriated in our society today. And a lot of people are being labeled heroes that, in my opinion, again, certainly are not. But that's for another topic, another discussion. So on our morning coffee this morning, Heroes Week, I want to talk to us about a lady named Jochebed. Jochebed is found in the Old Testament, and she is the mother of Moses, Aaron, and Miriam. Three important figures in Old Testament history. Of course, Moses was the third born to Jochebed, and we know that God called him to lead the nation of Israel out of Egyptian captivity, where they had been for 400 years. The story of Moses goes back to his mother, Jochebed. And again, we're talking about heroes that are underdogs in the Bible. The reason this is important is because in Exodus, the first chapter, the king of Egypt had made a decree that the children, and I'm trying to navigate this and word it carefully, but the baby boys that were being born at that time in the nation of Egypt, the Israeli baby boys in particular that were being born, Pharaoh, king of Egypt, had deemed them to be killed, just to be frank. So this was an attack on life. It was an attack on newborns. It was an attack on male children. It was an attack on the children of the nation of Israel in particular. And the midwives were commanded, the Hebrew midwives were commanded by the king of Egypt to kill the male boys that were being born. And there are two lists listed in Exodus 1 and 15, the two Hebrew midwives, but they refused to listen to the king. They refused. So Moses is born in this atmosphere. Moses is born to Jochebed, his mother and father, in this atmosphere of a death sentence on the male children of the nation of Israel, decreed by Pharaoh. And Jochebed and her husband just made a decision that this wasn't going to happen. Hebrews 11:23 says this, by faith Moses, when he was born, was hid 3 months of his parents because they saw he was a proper child and they were not afraid of the king's commandment. Again, the king's commandment was we're going to do away with male children born of the nation of Israel. And his parents made this decision that, no, we're going to disobey the king and we are going to allow this baby boy to live. And they hid him for 3 months. Now, that had to be difficult. Now, this is where the underdog situation comes in, right? Because this would have been a task to hide a child for 3 months and go against the king's decree. Came a point in time when she could no longer hide him, and so she made an ark and put Moses in this ark and put him in the river. And his sister Miriam was older, so she watched that ark with that baby in it, that little boat that was made, that little ark of bulrushes, as it's called in Exodus 2 and 3. And they put him in the river, and lo and behold, the daughter of Pharaoh comes down to the river, and here's this baby in a basket. And so she basically takes in this baby for her own, this Hebrew baby, and takes this Hebrew baby, which we know as Moses, into the house of Pharaoh, the very one that said, we're going to annihilate Hebrew male babies. Now he's living there, and the great part of this story is that Miriam watched that baby float down or get into that particular spot where Pharaoh's daughter was at, and when Pharaoh's daughter picks up that baby, Miriam goes to her, and in Exodus 2 and 7, here's the conversation. Then said his sister, speaking of Miriam, to Pharaoh's daughter, shall I go and call to thee a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee? Pharaoh's daughter said, go. And the maid went and called the child's mother. Well, Miriam went back and got Jochebed, Moses' mother, to be his nurse during this time. What a phenomenal story. All this was in my, again, as I analyze this was from a position of being an underdog. I mean, there was no hope for Moses. And then furthermore, when there is hope, his mother is able to be his, his nursemaid. And I'm sure that he's going through this time with his mother, that Jochebed is teaching him about the things of God, right? Jochebed is relaying to him who he is, his heritage, his belief system, right in the house of Pharaoh, the very one that said he couldn't live. And now here he is, not only living in Pharaoh's house, but he has his natural mother, his natural birth mother, who is taking care of him and nurturing him and pouring the things of God. And I found it interesting as I was studying about Jochebed. Her name literally means Jehovah, her glory, or Jehovah is honor. This is what her name means. Jehovah, her glory, Jehovah is honor. And so her very name speaks of Jehovah, right? And I think one commentator, I wish I would have noted it, I'm sorry, but I think one commentator said that this is either the first name or the first female name with Jehovah as the conjunction in it. Jehovah, her glory, Jehovah is honor. And so what a spectacular woman. And again, we only have snippets of her in Bible history, but what a spectacular woman that she must have been for her name to declare Jehovah, her glory, Jehovah is honor, and then to raise up Moses in the house of Pharaoh. And, we could see the impact that his mother made upon him, because when it comes time for God to call someone to lead the nation of Israel out of this Egyptian bondage, Moses is picked by God, and he comes back to Pharaoh's house, and he says, "Let my people go." And I'm sure those that was in Pharaoh's house at that time, which this would have been years later, but I'm sure they were acquainted with who Moses was. I'm sure they knew that he was at one point the adopted son of Pharaoh's daughter, but the greater impact was made by Jochebed, his natural mother, and raising him in a situation that was dire, a situation that was bleak. And so she, in Hebrews 11, I mentioned this in an earlier study, Hebrews 11 is called the kind of the heroes of the faith, right? The roll call of the heroes of the faith. And in Hebrews 11:23, we read that, in essence, Jochebed makes it there. And so this is why I chose her today, was to look at this lady of God that was highly valued, and preserved her child in a time of a crisis, in a time when babies were being, after they were born, they were being euthanized, they were being killed by the decree of the king. And so we thank God for Heroes Week. We thank God for heroes in the Bible who, in situations that were dire, when they were considered the underdog, that God empowered them. God gave them the wisdom and the knowledge to make a difference. So tomorrow we'll continue our journey talking about Heroes Week, heroes from the Bible. And again, if you've got a hero, stick it in the comments here, and we'll be glad to mention it tomorrow as we reflect on our lessons this week, and we look forward to a new study tomorrow morning. God bless you. Thanks for being with us today. Again, thank you whether you view this live or by archive, and if you want to share it, then we thank you for that as well, and just get the word out. And we're going to reevaluate what we're doing here. Morning Coffee at 9 a.m. We're watching the metrics. We're seeing about our views and how things are proceeding. Summertime's here. States are opening back up, and people are moving forward. So we're going to take a hard look at it in the next few days on what our plan of action will be concerning Morning Coffee and our other online presence. There will be some online presence, but we just don't know to what degree we're going to maintain the level that we have been for the last 50 days or so. All right, God bless you. Have a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Blessings.